All right, we're good to go. It's on you, Cam.
All right, cool. We'll come in at 15. No, we'll make it 10. Get on.
Okay.
Here we go. Three, two. What's going on, family? You're tuned in to Real Last Real Radio 104.1, your nightcap of comedy. My name is Cam Miller in the big chair tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening. Join the virtual studio with James John and from the law offices of Coffin and Lynn, Mr. Jeff Coffin. But dog, I say dog.
Yes.
We got a hip hop icon chilling with us tonight, bro. The theme is party
It's
time.
time. Oh,
Tracey
it's
Lee.
party time.
Having a party.
Yes!
You know what I mean?
Hey, Trace, you gotta understand this, man. I'm on the porch. I'm whiskey cigar. That's my thing.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you.
Your song pops up. I text James a screenshot. Keep your hands
He
high.
did.
I said,
He
bro,
did.
if you don't get Tracey Lee on our show, because for hip hop fans, if people listening, there's certain parts of your childhood that hip hop defines, and
Yes,
for
sir.
me. You are my 90s, and I'm going to tell you why. This is why I really wanted you on. I am a military veteran, as you can see in the back. 1997, Fort Huachuca, Arizona. You were the soundtrack for my first 4 years in the United States Army, my brother.
Wow.
Yes.
You know what's interesting?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you know what's interesting about that, because lately I've been hearing like people that were in the military around that time, whether they were in the States or overseas, like they really rock with the Many Faces album. And
Yes.
and I'm just finding this out, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
you
cool.
were the soundtrack to the NCO club in Fort Huachuca, Arizona.
Wow.
When your
Wow.
song came on, bro, we hit the dance floor, man. So we start. I now I'm fanboyed out. Now we can get interviewing. How did you get to start in hip hop?
Oh man, I mean, we're the culture, man. This goes back to the late '70s, man. It's like we are hip hop. So essentially, the first record that I heard on the air was Rapper's Delight, like most of us did. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Unless you grew up in New York City. Now,
Mm-hmm.
New York City was a totally different environment because they was way ahead as far as the rest of the world and the rest of, the country was concerned. But, it was instantaneous. But the thing that we didn't understand, that we was already a part of the culture, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we dress, you know what I'm saying, the way we dance, the vernacular,
Mm-hmm.
all of that is a part of the culture. So, I've been a part of this since its inception. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful that you asked that question, because we're going into the, I guess the commercialization of it being 50 years in 2023. And so there's a
Yes.
lot of things surrounding the 50th year anniversary. But as far as music is concerned, once I heard Rapper's Delight, and then I heard cats, a little later on down the line, like your Tila Rocks of the world and your
Oh
Melly
wow.
Mel's of the world and
Uh-huh.
your Como D's, because they ushered in what we call lyricism. Before
Mm.
that, the MC was throw your hands in the air and the
Yeah.
hip, the hop, the hip it. But when Mo D, Melly Mel, like I said, Tila Rock, and then shortly after that, the LLs of the world and all of that, they started interjecting the more lyrical aspect to it. And then later on, you get your Rakims, your KRS-Ones,
Mm.
your Chuck D's and all this other stuff. But I mean, I caught the bug from the beginning, man, from the beginning.
That's
Now,
what I'm talking
I
about.
wanted, Tracy, it's me again. He was on my show and I geeked out the whole time. He had to
Yeah,
tell me to leave him
we had
alone so he could go home.
whatever, man, whatever.
But I wanted to point out and definitely give you your flowers, man. It's one thing to be a hip hop artist, especially from what I consider the golden age of hip hop, which is the 90s. But to make a classic is something that's even greater. Man, that song, you can put it on right now
Right
at
now.
any club.
Right
We
now,
going to
it's
all
still
go crazy
bump.
and lose our minds. So just wanted to give you your flowers. That song meant a lot to a lot of us because it takes us back to a time, a place when we were growing up, coming into our own, becoming men. And that song is important because it's one of those things that I can have my kids. I can make my kids listen to it. And they're like, "Well, Dad,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to listen to your music." Then I make them listen to it. They're like, "All right, I see what you're saying. I get
There
it.
you go. There you
I
go.
get it, man." So definitely love you. And you came up though, and we talked about this before. When you came up, the people you were surrounded by in hip hop at the time, it was a who's who.
Oh
I
man.
mean,
Yeah. You came up
DJ
in a-
Guru, like
yeah.
all the people you was
Bro,
rocking with, it
you
was a
did
who's who.
song with Biggie. Like,
I mean,
come on, man. Like, how was that studio session?
well, it's
survived.
funny.
He's still here.
Yeah, we still here. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
But it's ironic that you say that, because today's date is what, December 5th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the actual day.
Wow.
What is this? 2022.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 26 years ago. We recorded that record today.
Oh my God.
Man.
Oh my
This is
God.
this this
Yes.
is this is the anniversary of us recording "Keep Your Hands High" in D&D Studios. You know what I'm
D&D
saying?
Studios.
And for those that don't
Man.
know what D&D Studios is, that's the studio that was owned by DJ Premier at the time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so the other part about this is that when we were recording that record, Jay-Z was across the hall recording The Streets Is Watching, but he had come over to our session before, we started recording because him and Big was cool. You know what I'm saying? So, you had all of these elements in this studio on that night, 26 years ago to the day. And so, me and Big were, it was a vibe. He was schooling me on things in the game that I hadn't known. Even though I was 2 years older than him, he was still my senior with regards to being in the business and understanding the business. But he was just schooling me to giving me a lot of jewels at the time. But as far as making the record is concerned, like I told, like I said, what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago,
on the show.
it was still a verbal joust. You know what I'm saying? Because we're still
you held yours
at the end of the day.
You was
know what
in
I'm
there,
saying?
bro.
Thank you, brother.
Bro, I was
Appreciate
listening
that.
to it last night. I'm like, bro, because you get on a record with a Big, a J, a M. A lot of times you gonna look back,
Washed.
bro. You was
Yeah.
in there. You held your own, and that
Appreciate
album is amazing to me. Like
Thank you.
one of my it's my Cigar
Amen.
Whiskey album, bro.
Thank you, man.
It's my
And-
Cigar
and-
Whiskey album.
And you know what? Again, this is a beautiful thing that I'm hearing it now, because back then, a lot of people thought, it was ahead of its time because they couldn't wrap their head around somebody using 5 different personalities and using 5 different voices on the same record. Everybody wanted things to be straight and narrow and just give it to me, raw or what have you. But I've always been the type that want to be creative and kind of, get myself out of the box. Don't put me in a box with everybody else. I want to live on my own little island, on my own little strip, and then you'll catch up later. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Nice.
I got to mention this too, man, because we on the show with Mr. Kaufman here, who's a lawyer.
I was gonna ask
Tracy
about
Lee, let's talk about your day job nowadays, bro.
I got a question for Tracy.
Yeah,
What's
okay.
up, Let's go.
Here's the thing. I did my share of entertainment law. I started off with Jam Pack Records a long time ago.
Okay.
And like Diamond Girl and stuff like that. And there's a lot what you don't know about the industry back then when you're part of it in comparison to doing the legal work now. So
Facts.
it's a different game. It's
different, totally different.
You look at it now, you're going, God, I wish I would have known that.
Yeah.
Oh man, all the time. It's what it did, man. Basically the experience of me being an artist and an MC in the game at the time, because I always wanted to be the best at the craft. But what I didn't understand is when you get into the industry, it's 1 to 5% about talent. Everything else is about the business. Who you surround yourself with, who's doing your legal work, who is basically getting into the nuances of what you signed in the first place. You know what I mean? And then when you discover, there's some things that you probably would have changed in the beginning had you had proper legal counsel, then you might not have gotten yourself into a predicament, if you will. So that is what prompted me, because I had no desire I had graduated from undergrad in 92. I had no desire to go back to school, but I wound up going back to school 10 years later to get my law degree and to, get my JD and pass the bar and all that stuff, just so I can give people the guidance that I didn't get coming into the game.
And that's what I wanted to bring up, the fact that you are actually not just doing it for a paycheck or a bag.
Right.
You want to help young artists coming in the game who didn't
Facts.
you don't want them to end up like when you first got into it, you didn't know the business like you said. So you're trying to give back to those kids and try to protect them from, because there's a lot of vultures out there, let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
In the entertainment industry, just looking to prey on young kids who just looking to get out of a certain situation. So I like the fact you're giving back, man. You truly are trying to help people. And you did tell me though, like, it doesn't always work.
No, not at all.
You will tell people, you say, hey man, I wouldn't sign that, and they sign it, and then they come
don't
back.
have a choice though. If they don't sign, they don't get a play.
Okay.
Sometimes that's what it's about.
Esquire, you just hit it on the head. But what I'm telling these artists or up and coming artists is, yes, you have to weigh out your pros and cons.
Uh-huh.
What are you willing to give to get? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then you have to assess your own situation and figure that out. All I am here to do is to give you all of the information.
Mm.
And so those are the things that I guess that I saw was missing when I was coming up. I didn't get all the information. I got tidbits of the information, but I didn't get all the information to make an informed decision. So what I want to do is give you the information. As long as you know what it is, then it's really up to you, because I'm only here to counsel. It's really up to you to make that final decision.
Wow.
Nice. Tracey, how you an OG in hip hop? How do you feel about the state of hip hop right now?
Honestly, okay, it's twofold. I
Okay.
think there is more control for the independent artists, right?
Mm.
Because you have the technology to do what it is that you need to do, to go straight to the consumer, to be able to, but you have to curtail your expectations. You know what I'm saying? Understand that you don't have a machine behind you, like as if you were signed to a major label, but you have the ability, if you're in it for the long play, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You have the ability to garner your fans and get information from people that really, really rock with you and watch it grow if you're committed to what you're doing. Now, the con of it is that everybody thinks they can do that. Everybody thinks that they can rap.
Mm.
Everybody thinks that they can sing. Everybody thinks, you know what I'm saying? Because
They can't.
now you have,
They can't.
and they can't. And so
They
you
can't.
got to be honest with yourself. You know what I mean? Like, is this really built and meant for you, or is this a come up? Is this a short play? Is it just a hustle? Blah, blah, blah. So I always have been an advocate now, even though I was against it back then. I still think we need gatekeepers in this game.
Well,
People that
there's
understand.
a big gatekeeper now, in the sense that you don't get paid on the album anymore. You get paid on the performance. That's a game
And
changer.
it's okay. So now we're going back to streaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Streaming is the thing that prevents you from making money off of your music. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yes.
So going back to the independent aspect, you go directly to the consumer. Have them come to your website. If you really are making quality music and you're garnering fans, those fans will buy your record, not just for $1, not just for $10. They'll pay top dollar for you, especially now if you got physical copies, because that's an anomaly. You know what I'm
Amen.
saying?
I
Now,
got a
before we
question before
go,
we get you out of here real quick. I gotta know, Jay, before I let him
go
go.
ahead. Go ahead.
Trey, what's your top 5?
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
So it didn't. No, this is really, really easy for me, because this is permanent. Like, I don't put anybody that are my peers or contemporaries in my top 5, because they did not influence me to do what I do.
Okay.
So
I got that.
that eliminates the Bigs, that eliminates the Jays, the Nas's of the world, that eliminates all of them. But I'm from a different generation. So my top 5, my mainstay top 5 is LL, Rakim, G-Rap, KRS-One, and it could be a flip of the coin between Big Daddy Kane and Chuck D,
I
depending
ain't
on
mad at
what
that. I ain't mad at that. I can't be
Good
mad at
top
that.
5, man. Jay, we got 30 seconds left. What you got for him, bro?
I was gonna top 5 is a great question. I was just gonna say he has new music out right now. I wanted Tracey Lee to have the opportunity to tell people where they can get it. He got a record label. He's running right now. So go ahead.
Yes, Party Time 25, Party Time XXV. That's the new record that is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the theme is Party Time. It's been 25 years since that commercial release. So what we did is we did a reboot, and you can only get it on TraceyLeeMusic.com. That's TraceyLee music.com. You get the music, the merch. I wrote a book. Everything is all on TraceyLeeMusic.com.
Appreciate you, man.
Brother, man. Tracey Lee, man, from me, from 90s Hip Hop Hands from Fort Huachuca, Arizona, brother. We love you. Thank you so much, man. Guys, that is Tracey Lee. I'm Cam Miller. We'll be right back after this commercial break.